none of the above except for electrical outlets works right now. Okay. It has an inspiratory, expiratory side as well as an expiratory filter. It takes a little bit of a while. It's running through a post test as soon as you turn it on.
So seriously, remember that time I asked, I was like, none of them have made a way to like change out the traps without just taking it off and or just hurry up and suction it.
Yeah, no.
We have to figure, alright, we gotta get together. That's our, like, we need to get that going.
Look how that one is. Look how little it is too. Imagine filling that thing up, how quickly that fills up. Oh, it's bright.
Silence that one. There you go.
Alright. So then it'll ask you down here and it'll tell you you're in standby. You're actually not ventilating your patient at this point in time. The Draeger is used at the clinic. Rainbow. Saney's is looking at it. I don't think it'll make its debut here though. It'll say current patient, you know, did you just take your patient on transport? Is this a new adult? Or we can also do a pediatric patient as well. Okay, so we'll just do a new adult. So anytime you touch something, it'll turn into yellow. And then you have to confirm it over here. So this lights up to say, yeah, you have to hit this to confirm if you want to make a change. Okay, so everything's touchscreen. So you're in a new patient. We want to put in some sort of ventilation setting. So we'll go to ventilation setting. Okay. And here's your alarm silence over here. It'll tell you, if you look up here, gives you 2 minutes of alarm silence. Okay. The options that I have available on this ventilator, because this is what we purchased, was we have VCAC, we can have PCSIMV, ECSIMV, our spontaneous mode, CPAP pressure support, pressure control, APRV, which we have not gone into APRV yet. And then if you had other modes in here, they might be in here as well. And you can purchase them, it's just an upgrade. So we'll go back to VCAC. You guys should be pretty familiar with this mode, except it looks a little bit different on the Draeger, because the Draeger wants you to put in an eye time. Okay. So, FiO2, we're going to keep it at 21, but if I was to change it, you just touch it, turn it, and touch it. So touch, turn, touch. I'm going to go back to 21, so I don't have it put in, and touch. Tidal volume 500, and I just want you to watch. So if I try to change this tidal volume, it won't let me go above 540, but it's telling me why. If you look up here, it's telling me adjust the flow, like it's asking me. Because look where my flow's set. 20 liters per minute, which is, where do we normally set it at? Okay, so let's go, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not gonna work. So let's go to flow and turn it. And touch, okay. And now let's try to change it. Let's go to 600. So now let me change it. Because it was telling me there's no way that you're gonna be able to get a tidal volume of 600 with a flow of 20 liters per minute. You just can't do it. Okay. It's really smart. Same thing with it wouldn't let me manipulate an eye time if my flow was too low, like at 20. So I'll show you that too. This was set at 20, which is the default setting. And I wanted to change my eye time. It tells me, okay, question mark, IE, 1 to 1. So then I know there's no way I'm going to get a longer eye time with the flow. So, where do you guys want to set eye time? What? 1.5. 1.5? Okay, so it's going to tell me with the 1.5, you're going to have an IE ratio of 1 to 2.3. Okay. Your expiratory time is going to be 3.5 seconds. And it has a time plateau of 1 second. Okay. So now you have your settings in. Did I not hit it? Did I not hit it? I might not have confirmed it. Okay. you'll see.
What was you seeing where it was showing you inspiratory aspirate?
Is that when you're
Oh, I was
changing
reading it up here. I was reading
No,
it.
like the box.
Oh, yeah, if you just hit it,
Is
that,
it when you're, oh, okay.
it just brings up a box that tells you what it is.
Yeah, okay, so you didn't combine
Okay, so now you have your settings in, and you would go down here to additional settings. And here would be where you would get to pick your trigger, which your only trigger is flow. Your only option that this vent gives you is flow trigger, and it gives you the option of going from 0.2 to 15 liters per minute. And where do we normally keep a flow trigger at? 3 is fine. 1 to 3, sure. Okay. It asks you, do you want to deliver side rests, intermittent side rests, and how often? It's not something we utilize today. It was once upon a time, and it was utilized for research. I can see it being comfortable though, because everybody naturally does side rests when you're sitting and breathing, but it's just not something that you see now. But if you had to think of outside the box of some way to make your patient comfortable, maybe a side breath would be an option. We haven't talked about autoflow. I told the other groups, if you come across, like say you're in here and you're playing, oh, and I didn't tell you this either. If you started this with a long test long on it or a cap on it, it'd be okay. But I would just recommend that so you remember on that one, just take it off. Okay, but you wouldn't throw it into in-off mode. So, if you come across anything that you haven't seen or heard, just write it down and we'll talk about it. So autoflow is something that we haven't talked about, and automatic tube compensation is something that we haven't talked about yet either. And those were utilized as weaning modalities. They're not very good though.
Both of those, or what was the second one called after autoflow?
ATC. It's called,
ATC.
yeah, it's automatic tube compensation.
It's a good idea, but it doesn't clinically work well.
No. It's better in theory when the engineers thought it through. Okay, so then the same things that you're messing with down here, we can go up here to our alarms, and it so alarms is important. You can set a high and low, so that's what the above and below represents high and low. Minute ventilation. A high and low minute ventilation delay. A main airway alarm. A high respiratory rate alarm. And a high tidal volume alarm. Those are the only alarms that you could set when you're in VCAC. And you'll see there's no, did you see there was no apnea alarms either? Because they knew, Draeger knew at this point in time when the Draeger vent came out that if you have someone in VCAC, you don't really necessarily have to have apnea alarms. Because if you have them on a total volume of 500, a rate of 12, 50%, they're gonna get that no matter what. Even if they go apneic, they're gonna get that breath, they're gonna get 12 breaths a minute, they're gonna get the tidal volume of 500. So they knew at that point in time, we don't necessarily have to have apnea alarms on VCAC or PCAC. Okay. So if you go to let's go back to our ventilation settings. If we go to VCSIMV, which you guys should be familiar with VCSIMV, FiO2 21%, tidal volume is 500, I time is 1.3. Respiratory rate is 12, slope is 0.20. Think of slope as rise time, but that's a term that you haven't heard of. You haven't heard of as well. Okay, so write that down and we'll talk about that. Flow is set at 60, PEEP is set at 5, and pressure support, let's put pressure support at, we'll just put it at 8 now. Okay, so now you're in VCSIMV. If you want to go to additional settings here, now you can see an option to set apnea ventilation is in there now. Okay, because now we know the patient's doing some of the work, so maybe we do need apnea parameters being set. And the only two options that you have is yes, apnea parameters are on. What is their tidal volume, and you just match it to what you want to receive. Tidal volume rate that you have set. Okay. couple other
bad.
things
Can't
before we
control
switch
it.
you out, because this is like speed dating and respiratory. That's what today is. It's speed dating and respiratory, so you have to see what you love and what you don't love. So a couple other things that you could do would be so if I truly want to ventilate my patient, which I can't right now because I don't have anything attached to it, I would go to start standby. Then I go up here to start ventilation. And saying, oh, okay, you want to start ventilation? Yep, start ventilation. And then it would throw me into, it's telling me I don't have any O2, I don't have any air, I'm on VC, SIMV. And here's everything that I have set. Here's everything that the patient's gonna do. Okay? You like this one better? If you work night shift, maybe you can't see real well. So there you go. If you're lit up for day or night. Okay? You could do waveforms where you could freeze waveforms.
And then I just realized that down there. Was that there before? Oh.
Because that's telling you like a quick visual of what percentage O2 as well as what your minute ventilation is too. I think they just threw that in for just the hell of it. Like, we can put something in there. That looks
Right.
good. But, like, I mean, like, really, who's looking down there? I don't know. Station, yeah. Caught our eye. You can have a logbook that would allow everything that is going on in this ventilator to go to an EMR, go straight to it. So I told the last group, once upon a time, I used to be able to play with modes and put people on things that I wanted to put them on, and then go and say, hey, do you want to do this to the doctor? And they'd say, oh, okay, well, I already knew it worked because I already tried it. But now if you tried to do it, they would know I did it, you know what I mean? Because it goes straight into EMR. So they'd be like, you already made the changes 2 hours ago, you know, so just don't do that anymore. Because you get in trouble.
Has it backfired on you to where you try something and
No, not really. I mean, I knew enough to stay in there if something went wrong. To flip them back, whatever. Most of the time I just needed to see if it worked. And then if it didn't work, then I just never went and proposed it. You know, I knew it didn't work.
It wasn't me.
Playing with patient's lives.
Sounds worse than it actually is. It actually was. That was a good story. So that is like, these are things that you can do. Like you can say, oh, I'm suctioning a patient, okay, and it will actually go into 100% oxygen, and then it will it'll put a note in there that you're suctioning the patient too, and that gets sent to EMR. If you're running a nebulizer, exactly.
Yeah, right. I'm like, why is this not? I'm like, what?
Yeah, special maneuvers. There's all kinds of things that we can do. I don't necessarily have a
How much does it cost? That's probably the question. Yeah.
Well, I think this one was 63,000. I think.
Yeah, I never wonder why.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. So I guess essentially what you guys want to do is if you have free time, just come in and be able to feel comfortable with putting in some settings and making changes. When you're all done, let's go back to start standby.
this one you want?
Hmm?
This the one that you want?
No, it's over there in the box.
Oh no, that one's still in there. Yeah.
Is that ever coming out of the box?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go back to standby. So you just hit standby and say okay, and then it lights up yellow again. And then when you want to turn this vent off, you just hold the same button that you turned on. Hit okay. Okay. Confirm.
Sweet.
That's the Draeger on crack.